Daf Yud Aleph Amud Beis. We'll begin Yud Aleph Amud Aleph 2 lines from the bottom, in the beginning of the Gemara. A person should not stand in the Rishus HaYachid, lean over and drink into the Rishus HaRabim. Or alternatively, vice versa, Rishus HaRabim should be Rishus HaYachid. Or standing in the Rishus HaRabim, leaning over into the Rishus HaYachid and drinking. So what is the issue over here? Because we're afraid maybe he'll take the cup and bring it to where he is. And in which case, he'd be transferring from one Rishus to another. So it's a Gzeira that he cannot lean over and drink because he might bring the cup to him. So it's a Gzeira for Haitzah. Aval im hichnis roisha v'ruba l'makam shushoysa muter. But if he leans over, not just his mouth, but roisha v'ruba, his head and most of his body, and then we're not concerned that he'll bring the cup over to him. So over there, he's allowed to then drink in the other rishus. Tosfos raises the point, well, why isn't it still considered haitzor achnasa? Because he's drinking the water in one rishus. So for instance, if he's leaning over from the house to the Rishus HaRabim, he's drinking in the Rishus HaRabim, and then he swallows it, and it rests in his stomach, which is in the Rishus HaYachid. Tosfos says the Hanoch is not when it is in his stomach, it's when he swallows. At that point, it's considered to be the Hanoch. So he's swallowing it in the same Rishus. He's drinking in the Rishus HaRabim, for instance, and he's swallowing it there. That's where the Hanocha is. So we're not geyser if he's Roisha V'Rubai, then we're not geyser. V'chein begas, and similarly by a wine press, the Gemara will discuss this. What does this mean by the gas of wine press? Iboilu karmelis mai. So we see over here that we're geyser Gzeira when it's a Rishus HaYachid, Rishus HaRabim, vice versa, because if he does carry from one Rishus to the other, it's an Isser D'Oraisa, it's Chai Midoraisa. So we're geyser Midorabanan. What about if the case would be if he lean over from Rishus HaYachid to a Karmelis, or from a Rishus HaRabim to a Karmelis? Is that the same Isser would it apply? Now, carrying to and from a Karmelis is an Isser D'Rabbanan, not an Isser D'Oraisa. So the issue is, would we be geyser the same type of Gzeira, where the consequence of carrying is an Isser D'Rabbanan, not a D'Oraisa, would we still be geyser the same Gzeira? So boilu karmelis mai amar Abaye, it's the same thing, just like we're geyser Rishus HaYachid, Rishus HaRabim, we're geyser karmelis to a Rishus HaYachid, Rishus HaRabim. Rav Amar, no, he gufa Gzeira, v'anan nikim nigza Gzeira l'Gzeira. The whole institution of a karmelis is a D'Rabbanan, as a Gzeira. So we wouldn't be geyser Gzeira l'Gzeira. Now Tosfos points out that Abaye in general terms agrees that we're not geyser Gzeira l'Gzeira. He also agrees that generally speaking we're not. But the question is over here specifically by Haitzah, are we geyser Gzeira l'Gzeira, or the Rabbanan geyser Gzeira l'Gzeira? And the reason might be, like Tosfos pointed out at the beginning of the Masechta, Haitzah is a malacha grua. It's not something that people so readily understand. You can transport heavy things from one corner of a house to another corner of a house a whole day, and Midaraisa, there's no malacha, but taking something very light and easy from one Rishus to another, you're chayiv. So it's not something that people so readily understand. So they're perhaps more stringent with Haitzah. Or alternatively, because it's a common occurrence, as some Rishonim point out. So this is the machlokes. Abaye says we are geyser in this case, Gzeira l'Gzeira, and Rava says no, we are not. Amar Abaye min alam. What's my proof that we are geyser Gzeira l'Gzeira d'ktalei v'chein begas? Like we just learned, similarly by a wine press. My gas, so what is this gas over here? So you can't drink from one Rishus to the other Rishus. And similarly by a gas. What is this wine press? What's the status of it? Rishus HaYachid, if the status of it is a Rishus HaYachid, so it's an enclosed area, it's a Rishus HaYachid, Tanina. We already learned from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, Rishus HaRabim, Tanina. So what is different by gas that it says, we already said that lo yamadam Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, etc., vice versa. So what is being added by gas? So obviously the gas cannot be a Rishus HaYachid or Rishus HaRabim, it must be a different Rishus. Elam must be Elalav Carmelis. Must be that this gas is a Carmelis. and this gas is in an open area, it's a karmelis, and v'chein begas, and we're also geyser by a karmelis. So don't you see clearly that we are geyser by a karmelis? Taisus mentions over here that even though we have a principle of ein karmelis bekalim, we're not geyser at the gzeir of karmelis by kalim, but he says this gas, this wine press, is not considered a keli because since it's mechuber lekarka, it's not considered a keli. So the dinim of karmelis would apply. So that's a bias proof. This must be a karmelis, and you see we are geyser the same gzeira. Rava says no. There's no proof from here. There's no proof from here. Rav Amar v'chein begas. We're not talking legabe the haitzah of Shabbos. We're not talking about isurim of Shabbos. It's in a different context, completely different context. He says it's linyan meiser. V'chein Amar of Sheshes v'chein begas linyan meiser. It's referring to a halacha of meiser. Now the halacha by meiser is as follows: that a person is not mechuyev midaraisa on afrashas meisers to separate the meisers. He's be allowed to eat the produce without separating the meiser until the point where the processing is finished. When the processing is finished, min ha-Torah, then he cannot eat it. It's tevel, and he cannot eat it without separating the meisers. The Rabbanan said even prior to that, it's still aser. But the only answer if it's a achilas keva. But achilas aray, a snack would be mutter. So the issue over here is by a wine press, if he's in the wine press, would it be considered a snack or would it not be? Can he drink the wine without being mafresh meisers or can he not? So the context that we're discussing over here is not Shabbos according to Rava. It's legabe the halacha of snacking. Does he have to be mafresh the meisers and the gas and the wine press or not? It's not. Rameir says, by definition, if it's in a wine press, that's not considered achilas keva. That's only considered temporary. It's considered to be a snack. And whether the wine is diluted with warm water or with cold water is pater. Rameir says you do not have to be mafresh the meisers. Rav Elazar, Rav Tzadik Mechayev, he says, no, that it's not considered to be a snack, and you have to be mafresh. Chamim differentiate. How is it diluted? If it's with chamim, with warm water, then you have to take the meisers. If it's tzoinen, it's cold water, then you're potter. What's the difference? Why is there a difference? Because if it's cold water, whatever you don't drink, you can return and put it back into the press. So you can put it in the press, therefore it's not considered achilas keva. Something which is warm water, you would not put it back into the wine press because it would spoil if it's diluted with warm water. So since you don't return the rest of it, it's considered to be a snack. Because it's something that you will finish. You won't return it, so it's not considered to be a snack. So, what do we mean over here when we say v'chein bagas? We were talking about halacha before by Shabbos, and we said by Shabbos that you cannot lean over and drink in a different rishus. But if you are raised rosh v'rubai, and then we're not afraid that you'll bring the keli to you. So similarly, in a gas, if a gas is considered snacking, and it's not considered to be achilas keva, it's only considered achilas arai, and it's mutter to drink it without being mafresh. So the issue is, if he's standing outside the gas, and if he's leaning over, can he drink in the gas? Now, according to different mandomrim and different circumstances, the gas is permitted. It's considered achilas arai, and it's permitted. Under those circumstances where the gas is permitted, can he, if he is standing outside the gas, can he lean over and drink in the gas? So it's the same halacha, v'chein begas. If it's rosh v'rubai, then he's considered to be in the gas, in the press, over the area of the press, and it's mutter without being mafresh meiser. It's considered achilas. All right, it's a snack. But if he's not rosh v'rubai, then we're afraid that he'll take the kli from the gas, from the press, and bring it outside of the gas, and I'll drink it there, and then it's considered achilas keva, so it's also. So the same basic idea of we have on Shabbos, by leaning over one rishus to the other, we have lagabi this halach of a gas, where a gas would be considered a snack, and it's mutter without being mafresh meiser. Can you lean over from one rishus to the other? So continuing on with this machlokes Abaye and Rava, Abaye says we are geyser gzera legzera legabe hoitzah by Shabbos, and Rava says we are not. Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, Tanan lo yetzeh chayit b'machtas amol chashecha. The tailor should not go out with his needles, with his pins, somach l'chashecha, before Shah close to Shabbos. Shema yishkach v'yetzeh, because we're afraid that he'll carry on Shabbos. So my love, that chuvaloi bebigdoi. Are we not talking where the pin is stuck into his garment? Where even if he would take this out, walk out on Shabbos in this manner, it's not the normal derech of Eitzah. And even if he would go out in this manner, he'd be potter. And nevertheless, we are geyser that on Erev Shabbos, he cannot go out, samach l'chashecha, agzera shemiyishach v'yetzeh. Now, even if he does go out on Shabbos, l'chayre, it's only a derabbanan, it's not a deraisa, and yet, you see, we still are geyser, so it's a right to Abaye, l'chayre, it's a kash on Rava. Don't we see that by itself, we are geyser, gzera, l'gzera? Where it says, lo yidinok l'biyodi. We're talking not when it was stuck into his garment. It means dinok biyodi. He was holding it in his hand. So if he did go out on Shabbos in that manner, he'd be chay b'chatas. It would be a deraisa. And that's why we're geyser erev Shabbos. But if it would be tchuv bigda, it would just be stuck into his garment, we would not be geyser. Well, here it says clearly that he should not go out with a machat that's attached to his garment. It says clearly that way. My love, Erev Shabbos. Are we also not talking Erev Shabbos where it's Erev Shabbos? And yet we are geyser, even though if he did go out on Shabbos, it would be a derabbanan, not a deraisa. Don't you see? We are geyser gzera l'gzera. Where it says loy kitani b'Shabbos. No, that's referring to Shabbos itself. That on Shabbos you can't go out, the tailor can't go with the machat chuva b'bigdai, that's also midrabanan to carry in that manner. But on Erev Shabbos, there was no isser because that would only be exer l'gzera. In fact, the Gemara vatanya lo yeseh chayit b'machdai at chuva b'bigdai be'erev Shabbos im chashecha. It says clearly it's chuva b'bigdai. And Erev Shabbos, don't you see that even though it's Erev Shabbos, and it's chuva bigda, which l'cher is a derabanan, so it's gzer l'gzera, and we are geyser. So isn't that a raya to Abaye kash on Rava? Where it says Homani Rabbi Yehudihi. No, this mandomer is Rabbi Yehuda, the Omar Uman derechum noso chayev, that holds that it's not a derabanan. The uman who goes out derechum noso, this is the manner which a uman, a trade, goes out, then that is considered normal, and that would be considered the normal way of carrying. And since the uman has it with a pin that it's stuck to his, attached to his baged, he holds that that would be considered the normal way of carrying, and it would be chayim d'oraisa, and that's why we're geyser on Erev Shabbos. It's not exera l'gzera, because for the tailor, for the uman, to go out in this manner, to carry the pin in this manner, would be a deraisa. The chayat cannot go with the pin that's attached to his garment. Not a carpenter with a ruler that's ba'ozna, that behind his ear. And not the comer, not with the meshicha, with the cord that he has in his ear. He had a cord which he ties the garment that he's combing, that he's fluffing up, that he ties and stretches to the end. He can't go with that cord. And not the weaver, not with the irish ba'ozna. The weaver had a tube, and in the tube that had the spool of the wool, and he had a stopper in it that to make sure that the wouldn't unravel, that only one thread would come out at a time, and he would put it in the hole of the spool, and therefore to ensure that the threads would not unravel, only one strand would come at a time. So he used to put that in his ear. And not a dyer, he used to have sample swatches with different color samples. He should not have it around his neck, those color samples. And not the money changer with a dinner and buy it behind his ear. Ramer says if you did go out in that manner, Potter of a losser, it's not the normal way of carrying, and therefore it's Potter of a loss. Rabbi Yehuda says that the uman, this is the way the trade does go out, is chayav. Sharon kolana Potter. For everybody else, it's not the normal way of carrying, but for the uman, it is the normal way, and therefore he's chayav. So the way we're assuming right now that the pshat and the machloikas is that Ramer says, we're assuming in the Havamina, the Ramer holds, even though it's normal for the Uman, but if it's not normal for everybody else, you're potter. Rabbi Yehuda says, if it's normal for the Uman, if the Uman does it, if the trade does it, if that professional does it that way, then he's chayav. Even though, notwithstanding that it's not common for everybody else, but if it's common for him, for that group of people, then they're chayav. Anybody else would be potter. So here where we're saying that the chayat b'machdai can't go there, the chayat b'machtchu b'bigdai is going according to Rabbi Yehuda that says it's not exera, it's not a drum, because for the uman to carry it out, b'bigdai, that would be an isser deraisa, b'chayim deraisa. So it's not exera. Tanachada lo yetzazav b'kisoy. Azav should not go out with a kiss. Azav who has riyas of zav, so if he has 3 riyas, then he's tamei and he has to bring a korban. 2 riyas he doesn't have to bring a korban. He's tamei, he doesn't have to bring a korban. So he has a kiss, a pouch, that to be able to boidek, to do an examination to see if he had emissions, if he had a riyah. So that he should not go out with a kiss. And if he did, it's not haitzah deraisa, it's not the normal way of carrying. So it's potter also, it's also midrash, but not midaraisa. We learned elsewhere that it's an isser deraisa, he's chayv chatas for doing that. Amar Rav Yosef like kasha, Ramer, Rav Yehuda. It's not a kasha, that's Rav Meir. So Ramer says, just like we said before, by the chayat, by the trades, since normally other people generally, the general population does not carry that way, then it's potter. And even for the zav, it'd be potter. And Harav Yehuda that says, Uman deracham nosa is chayat. Amlei Abaya. No, our understanding of Rav Meir is not the way, he says, Abaya says, is not the way we previously understood it. Where did Rameir say you're potur? Not the way we previously understood it. He says, where did he say that's by a chayat, that's by the gardi, that's by the nagar? Those are so funny in those cases, where it's not even normal, it's not even common for those classes of people. When a carpenter wants to take out his kalim, his rulers, he holds it like everybody else. The reason that they would put things behind their ear or attach to their garment or have it visible, it's because they want to advertise. The way Rashi explained, they're advertising. They're advertising that these are trades who do this type of work. They're weavers, they're money changers, they're tailors, etc. It's not normal caring for them. That's marketing. It's advertising. So they put it behind their ear, they put it on but that's not the normal way of caring, even for them. So that's why Rameir says that they are potter, because it's not even normal for them. But for something which is normal for that person, even Rameir would agree that that's chayim d'oraisa. Now for the zav, it's not common for other people, it's not normal for other people, but for the zav himself it is. So even Rameir would agree that for this person, even though it's generally not common, but if this is the way that this person would, under these circumstances, carry, it's considered caring for him, and even Rameir would agree that you're chayim. If you're going to save a person who's not a professional carpenter, he's not a professional carpenter, and he hollows out in a log, he hollows out a hollow opening which can hold a kav. It can hold a kav of that measurement of liquid. So he's not a professional carpenter. He doesn't do it in the same size, the same quantity, in the same manner, in the professional way that a carpenter would do it. But for an amateur, this is the way he would do it. So it's normal for him. So if you're going to tell me if somebody who is not a professional and he builds something, he fashions something, he constructs something, he engraves something, he hollows out something, you're saying that he's going to be potter if he does it on Shabbos? Because it's not the normal way. Certainly Rameir would agree he's chayiv, because for him, under these circumstances, this is the way it's normally done. So certainly be chayiv. So therefore, for the zav, even though for other people it's not normal to carry with a kiyas, but for the zav it is, he would also agree that you're chayiv. So that's not the pshat. So why does it say in one case that you're chayiv, the zav is chayiv, in another case poter? Elamar v'amnuna lo kasha. Kan b'zav bal shtei riyos, kan b'zav bal gimel riyos. It depends if it is needed or not. Now, it's only needed for the zav, the pouch, in order to examine himself to see if he really is tomei, if he's a zav. So if he's a zav, bal shtei riyas, he only had 2 missions, he only saw twice, he needs that pouch to be able to determine if there's another riyah, and if he's tomei, it's about shtei sholosh riyas, and if he's tomei, he has to bring a korban. So that kiss is important for him, and it's needed, and therefore it's considered hoitzah, because it's a hoitzah for the purpose of hoitzah. He needs that kiss to determine whether he's a zav bal shtei or sholosh riyas. But if he already saw 3 times, then there's no purpose for that kiss anymore, and therefore there's no purpose for the hoitzah, and therefore he's considered potter. So it's not Rav Yehuda and Rav Meir. They would both agree that if there's a purpose for this hoitzah, that the person would be chayiv, the zav would be chayiv, because it's normal for the zav under these circumstances. The difference between the brises, when one is potter and one is chayiv, if it's a zav bal shtei riyos, he needs the kiss to determine if he's a zav bal sholosh riyos. Therefore, the hoitzah is considered to be carrying. It's a purposeful hoitzah, and he's chayiv. If he already saw 3 times, there's no purpose for it, so he's potter. Frank the Gemara, so you're saying if he only saw it twice, he needs it, because he has to examine himself to see if he sees a 3rd time. Well, zav bal gimel nami mevoid sfira. Even if he saw 3 times, but after 3 times, he needs now to start the zayin nekiyim. He has to have 7 clean days where there is no emission, where there is no riyah, he doesn't see. So he needs the kiss to be able to check and examine and boidig afterwards if he's really clean, if he has zayin nekiyim. So there is a purpose. Even if he saw 3 times, there's still a purpose. Our answer is now we're talking where it's boy b'yom. The zayin nekiyim only starts the day after he saw. Now if he saw the 3rd riyah on this day, to continue to have this kiss, to wear this kiss, it serves no purpose, because he's already tomei, he's already zav gomer, and he has to bring a korban. He cannot start the zayin nekiyim, the 7 clean days, until the next day. So to wear this kiss for the rest of this day serves no purpose. So therefore he's potter, because there's not a purpose for the hoitzah. And that's why he's potter. For the Gemara, still for practical purposes he needs it, even though Lagabe the halachas of zav he doesn't, but he still needs it for practical purposes. Vami boy, like a deshali ton of kalov, he still needs it so that he doesn't become dirty. His clothes don't become dirty. We're going according to Tana holds that wearing something just to protect your garment is not considered, to wear is not choshev. That's not considered a davar choshev. If you're wearing something just to protect your garment, that's not considered purposeful, and that's not considered choshev. And therefore, even though it serves this practical purpose, he's still potter. It's still not considered to be the purpose of hoitzah. So the details of this discussion, Bez Hashem, we'll see in the next Amud.